Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils postgame show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Bet just $1 on any NBA team to score a point in their game, and if they do, if either team does, actually, you get $100 in free bets this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's just that simple. Crushing loss to San Diego State at San Diego State, 65-63. Some good things to take out of it, obviously, as always, but just can't keep putting my heart through this damn thing with this ASU Athletics. And I'm joined by Brittany Boyer.
Hey, what's up? I feel stunned. There were so many lead changes in that game. It was all purely based on momentum, I feel like. And at the end of the game, San Diego State had that momentum, and it just worked out for them. Same thing with friggin' UC Riverside. It's like, goddamn, that's twice now. At the buzzer, Arizona State's lost, and we're only 4 games into the season right now.
Yeah.
My heart, my chest, my emotions, my feelings, my mental sanity. I don't know if I can handle this.
Yeah, the 18 or 16 points, I believe, from Marianne Jackson, the game high for the whole game, actually, not just the Sun Devils. Only on 5 of 18 shooting, 2 for 12 from the three-point line. I was saying this during the game, though. Honestly, hoist up whatever you want, Marianne. He has the potential. It's going to start falling at some point. He's probably shooting a very low percentage on the year so far, but you can see it coming, and he gives the effort. I mean, it was evident on that last play when he was able to poke the ball loose and get his own rebound, essentially, and give the Devils another chance. But yeah, just another really tough game where they couldn't come through in the stretch. They were 8-point underdogs on the DraftKings Sportsbook app tonight. So, you know, they covered that spread at least. Obviously only losing by 2.
I'm surprised about that, to be honest.
Yeah, no Marcus Bagley probably affects that spread a lot more than we would think. But without further ado, let's just hop right into it. Let's get into the lyric of the game. I really got to make a jingle for this. The lyric of the game tonight comes from the one and only Justin Bieber. It goes, "Don't tell me you're my heartbreaker, because girl, my heart's breaking." Heartbreaker. I didn't want to sing it tonight. I didn't feel like the Sun Devils fans wanted to hear that tonight. But yeah, just again, another heartbreaker. It hurts to watch, and it's not just across ASU basketball. It's across everything.
I guess I would do Heartbreaker by, who is it, Tayo Cruz?
Yeah. There were a couple. There's a Mariah Carey one. There were a couple options I could have gone to tonight, but I bumped that song on the reg. So I mean, come on. You got to do it.
All right. I give you credit for, owning up to listening to JV's on the reg. That's pretty masculine of you. I support it.
There's no. Well, one good thing to point out tonight, Devils shooting a little better from 3, 37.3%, or from the field, sorry, 21% from 3, not good from 3, 37% from the field.
They're shooting terrible.
What I meant to say was San Diego State shot 28% from the field only. So that's something. The 3-point ball isn't falling as much. Finally hit a team that was cooling off a little bit. There were some really bright moments from a lot of players on this team. There was a lot of different things we hadn't seen. Luther Muhammad hit a couple big threes. Kamani Lawrence, same old, rebounding and scoring at will. He's already got so many offensive rebounds on the year. Tonight he finished with 14 points, 12 rebounds, 5 of those being offensive. It's just impressive.
And he had 3 assists on the night as well.
Yeah, huge stuff. Worth tuning in, Shane and Bieber. Yeah, it is. It is worth tuning in. Congratulations on the point you guys got tonight. The Coyotes dropped a heartbreaker as well in a shootout.
Yeah.
So
5-4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a tough
tragedy.
Well, Lawrence was all over the place getting the job done, but really Marianne Jackson was the guy that we've been waiting for him to be. And it took him a little bit of time to warm up, but once he was in the rhythm, we really saw things start to roll for him. You know, he had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals on the night. So he was another guy that was absolutely phenomenal in terms of getting out there and getting the job done. And Shane, I don't know about you, but I felt like Jalen Graham, you really could tell the impact he had in terms of being back with the team and having even just a couple of days to work with them in terms of how it translated on the court tonight.
Yeah, he's still kind of finding his groove and touch. I don't know what the extent was of how much he didn't play basketball. I know he was out because of COVID restrictions and all, but I don't know how much he wasn't able to touch a basketball in that time. But you saw him get a little hotter at the end. There were some pretty bad missed bunnies. He had a really nice face up J in the first half from about 15, 20 feet. Try to three. I'm not sure if he has that yet. He still has yet to hit a three in his ASU career. But I'm fine with it. It doesn't look terrible.
No, I mean, he did a great job of really making sure he cleaned up inside of the paint for ASU, and I felt like he did a good job of driving to the bucket and helping penetrate in the center. I felt like at times it was a little bit hard to really get through with San Diego State. They have a really tough defense, and I felt like he kind of was able to make plays and open things up a little bit. And I think that's something I think we're anticipating Marianne Jackson was going to be able to do a little bit more of for his teammates as well. And we're finally starting to see that with his 7 assists that he had in the night. So,
yeah, one thing that I just keep going back to with this team is the half court sets and the slow tempo that they try to run consistently isn't just not working. And a lot of what is working is when they have a good team defensive stop or they first force a turnover and they get out and run. That's how they're able to get that 9-point lead in the second half and have it erased just as quickly because they were running into half court sets. I don't know if that's just because of there's so many new pieces on this team that they just haven't played together enough, or that there's something with Hurley where maybe he doesn't know how to draw up plays. That's probably not the case, but there's something wrong.
Well, I can tell you verbatim from my inside source that ASU had said in transit to the arena tonight that they wanted to push the tempo before San Diego State could get set defensively because they are long and they are really good when they get set. So that's from my inside source in terms of what their plan was. They did not do a good job right out of the gate in terms of doing that. And I really feel like that slow start that we've seen for the 4th time this year is, again, haunting them when it comes to closing out the game at the end. Also, some really, really just bad missed free throws that should have been made.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Graham obviously going over 4 on the night. The Sun Devils only missed 5 free throws the whole night, and 4 of them were Jalen Graham. So hopefully, there's no rebuilding in NCAA basketball, Aaron. There's only up and up, and this is a team that ASU needs to win with now because of how many people will be gone after this year, and not a lot of young guys getting playing time. Jemiah Neal missing what would have been game-winning 3 at the end pretty badly. That doesn't fall on him. He's not a 3-point shooter just yet. Still really raw. Really like what I saw from him again tonight, though, on the defensive end.
Yeah, I really liked watching Jemiah Neal play tonight. I thought DJ Horn also had a phenomenal night as well in terms of just being everywhere and trying to be a playmaker and creating opportunities for his teammates. I know he finished with only 9 points on the night, but he was somebody who was very active out there. We didn't see as much of Alonzo Gaffney as I would have liked to have seen in terms of really kind of creating things in the second half. And I'm sure that I believe he was in foul trouble, if I'm not mistaken, and that was why they didn't have him play as much, but I'm not 100% certain. But he's somebody who I would have liked to have seen.
Gaffney had 4 and Jalen Graham had 4. That's why they were both coming out. That's why they strayed away from the 2 big lineup that they had in. Balachi didn't see any minutes in the second half, I don't believe. He was in for a bit with, I want to say Graham, or maybe, I think it was Gaffney, actually. Him and Gaffney were doing the Twin Towers setup, which was working a little bit. But let's say we break this game down into quarters like it is in the NBA, 10-minute increments. what would have been what is the second and third quarter basically of this game was, I think, ASU's best moments of the game. They closed out the second half pretty strong, especially with that Marianne Jackson 3. That, God bless him. I'm so glad that went in just for his sake. Seeing the ball go through the net, I tweeted this earlier, can really give you some momentum, especially before going into halftime. And then in the third quarter, they were obviously able to extend their lead to 9. And a lot of that came with pushing the tempo. And I think that's why you didn't see a lot of bigs in, definitely with the foul trouble. But I think a lot of it came down to pushing the tempo. And when the tempo,
that was when they did best.
And what the reason why the tempo couldn't be pushed late in the game is because they were they put San Diego State into the bonus. I want to say at the 13-minute mark of the first or the second half. And when you're fouling that much, it stops the clock. Obviously, it stops the game, stops the flow, and then you can't run. And when you can't get out and run with this Devils team, it gets ugly.
Yeah. And, it was pretty obvious as soon as they were able to go on a run, whatever team was really able to break away and get those couple momentum changing drives going on. That was really the way that the game would shift. And I want to say that there were like 11 lead changes in this game, if I'm not mistaken. There were quite a few. And so, you just think about how much of it was kind of bullying each other in terms of who was going to get the other team to play their game better. And ultimately, I feel like it came down to San Diego State. But, I mean, looking at this matchup on paper, Arizona State, leading up to the game before it was announced, they think officially that Marcus Bagley was out. ESPN was only giving Arizona State like a 26.9% chance of winning this game to begin with. So to look at the fact that they were able to take it all the way down to the final seconds of the game without Marcus Bagley, I think that says a lot about this team. And I think it kind of touches on what we talked about at the end of the game on Monday against North Florida. We talked about there being a little bit of a concern going into this tough game against San Diego State on the road after barely being able to squeeze by. But I mentioned that they play up and play down to the level of their opponent. And I think this was a prime example of seeing them play up to that level. So I do have a lot more confidence now seeing some of the things that they were able to do and just them thinking on the fly. And, you have to have faith that they're only going to get better with time. The more tests that they have, the more that they're out there playing, the more they're going to gel together. So I feel pretty good, Shane. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at moral victories, and that's not something you want. This is exactly what I was about to bring up. Sellout crowd. San Diego State is one of the toughest places to play. They have that setup where the bleachers go up, and it feels like the fans are completely surrounding you. This game gets played on a neutral court. Arizona State wins this game. And the fact that they were able to weather the storm of losing a 9-point lead and then turning it into what basically felt like a 20-point swing, even though they were only down by 7, was the largest lead that San Diego State had. And weather that storm and keep it under control, it says a lot about this team. Obviously, we knew coming into this season that there was a lot of veterans on this roster. There was a lot of fifth years. There was a lot of guys coming from different environments like Marianne Jackson and DJ Horn and Jay Heath that could have brought something special to this team and something different, especially. So the moral victory for tonight is just think about that it's early in the season. If they were to get blown out, there would have still been time to work. The fact that they're working toward the goal that is eventual, because in college basketball, the hottest team at the end of the year is the team that succeeds. I said this before. I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it for the rest of the year. All this team needs to do is figure it out. And this ASU team is playing bad, and they're not hitting their shots. This team should be getting blown out. Shooting 20-something% from the three-point line is just not going to cut it, especially when you rely so heavily on the three ball. And the fact that they're in games like this.
21% tonight from the three. We thought 26 was bad the other night. 21%. God damn.
Low Tone Capone that's brings up something that I wanted to bring up too. How weird was it to see Matt Bradley in a San Diego State uniform? Oh my God.
Weird.
He's such a little weird. That man is, I think he lost a bit of juice. I remember watching him at Cal. And every time he'd miss a three, it was long. And I swear it was because of how jacked he was. That man looks like a defensive end. He is crazy. When he went to the free throw line, I was like, yes, Matt Bradley's shooting free throws. And then they're like, he's an 83% free throw shooter. I'm like, what? With those arms? So it's funny to see him out there. There's just so many transfers. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be more names that pop up in non-conference or just watching college basketball later this year from the Pac-12.
Yeah. You hit on that transfer thing, and I think that's something that a lot of people are forgetting. There have been so many kids who have hit the transfer portal to move somewhere that's closer to home, maybe left a big name program. Other kids from, this class of 2021 that maybe went under the radar because of the pandemic, didn't get a chance to go to the programs that they necessarily thought they were going to, ended up going to a smaller name that's in their town. And hey, it doesn't take much to change a basketball program and really completely turn things around and get the program on the up and up. And I think that we're going to see, March Madness is always March Madness for a reason, but I think it's going to be even more insane this year.
Yeah, another thing I do want to touch on about the trend of this team right now, a lot of what was keeping ASU in the game when San Diego State would go on runs, or even when ASU was just cold, when they were missed like 5-6 field goals in a row, was that the defense. It was completely the defense, and that's something that, I mean, obviously this is always a team that's going to give its all, and team defense is all about trying your hardest and give passion and leaving it all on the court. Same with team rebounding, but this isn't something you expected to be a super strong suit of this team, especially after the first couple showings. The identity of this team that at least we thought of was that they have like 4 or 5 absolute flamethrowers on offense that can get hot at any given moment. And then you add Kamani Lawrence, who wasn't even supposed to be one of the leading scorers, and he is ASU's leading scorer as well as rebounder, obviously. So when you combine that,
Kamani Lawrence is just the leading playmaker in general,
he's the
especially
best
with
player on
some
this
of the
team. It's
amazing
not
things
close.
he's able to do. I think there were like 3 pretty amazing plays he made that actually had me in awe tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this was like end all be all, but at the start of the game, it wasn't going great, and he was the only spark plug for ASU. He had 2 offensive rebounds that ended up in layups for him. So, but yeah, you couple that with the defense, and if this team gets hot one night, watch out. They can blow anybody out when they're playing that good of defense and they're hitting from 3. Because as I said, anybody on this roster has the potential to go for 20 a game, or anybody in the starting lineup, excuse me, has the potential to go for 20 in a game. We're just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before too. A lot of shooting is just mechanics and your timing and just getting that muscle memory pattern down. And I think the more that they practice and the more that they get used to playing games, shooting with somebody in front of their face, the defender there, and just trusting the release and stuff, I think it's going to start to pan out, and they're going to start hitting more of these threes. I've touched on that before. Trusting the process. Sometimes the process is ugly. I'm hoping that their process is kind of just focusing on working on whatever it is, whatever it may be that their improvement or technique is, and eventually it will start to pay off and those threes are going to start sinking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it more than that is mentality, or it's all mental. A guy like Marianne Jackson, who has had such a rough start to the year, I'll get his numbers later on in the show for what he's shooting on the year. Such a rough start to the year, but he keeps shooting. I mean, he put up 18 shots tonight, and that would be very concerning if he didn't also have 7 assists. He's the main ball handler for the Sun Devils team, and he knows that. He knows he has to be a leader. So I think a lot of it's mental with him. That's why I was so excited to see that 3 at the end of the first half fall, because you just got to get going. And once he has a big game, I feel like he's going to start rolling, because as we've said, this is the MAC player of the year last year, averaged almost 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He can do everything. He just isn't scoring right now, and that's something that usually comes natural to him. So I'm not worried about that.
Now, correct me if I was wrong, but was he not the player who hit the half-court shot, essentially, or maybe it was just a 3-point buzzer beater in the opening game to close out the first half as well?
The steal that turned into a fadeaway, yeah, he did have that as well.
So, I mean, that's 2 out of 4 games where he's had a clutch shot in pressure situations. So he might not have had the best start to games, but there are glimmers and moments and things that I see from him that I do really like, that specifically being one of them, because it shows the ability to shoot under extreme pressure when it matters most.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not a guy that's going to go cold and then disappear. He's going to still fill up the stat sheet in other ways. He's always going to go for a loose ball. He's always going to try to get a rebound. And he's always going to look for an open man. And we saw that multiple times toward the end of the game. I mean, he found a couple open people that couldn't hit their shots, and just how it goes sometimes. Shots go in, shots don't go in. It's basketball. So yeah, not a lot of concern there. If you want to hit some shots and throw some darts, DraftKings Sportsbook. That DraftKings Sportsbook app has a lot of options for you, a lot of plus odds that you can get for fun. If you want to just throw some darts at a wall, some prop bets. I've been really enjoying first touchdown scores. I'm sure as a lot of you NFL bettors have as well. Espo on the Suns show, this has been a really fun tradition. The last 2 games he's bet on Jay Crowder to score the first bucket in the game, and the odds are crazy. He threw, I think, $20 and won 450 something because he scored the first bucket. So last night he did that as well, and Jay Crowder passed on some open shots, and it was pretty funny watching him gamble his money away on that DraftKings Sportsbook app. Right now you can bet just $1 on any NBA team to score a point in their game, and if either team in that game scores a single point, you get $100 in free bets this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app when you sign up using that promo code PHNX. That's promo code PHNX this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's 21 plus, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Just tuning in, ASU 63, San Diego State 65, as we mentioned earlier. Sun Devils fall to 2-2 on the year. San Diego State improves to 2-1. Lotan Confirm brought this up earlier. San Diego State owns the Pac-12. They have won their last 4. They've won their last 4 in basketball. They had
them and BYU.
They had a win over Utah and U of A in football this year, sitting at number 18 in the nation in football. So, worth to note. Be scared. I wonder if any Pac-12 teams play them later in the year. I'll give that a check right now.
I'm pretty sure that they do, but San Diego State and BYU as well. Arizona State, the women's squad played BYU yesterday on the road, and the women beat them. BYU's women beat Arizona State's women 55-44.
Yeah.
And they've owned pretty much every Pac-12 school that they've played in just about every sport as well. So, it's another one of those, like, why are they not in the Pac-12 conference? I mean, why not? Add them in. Increase competition.
I wouldn't mind it. Did you know that Pac-12 basketball play already started? Stanford beat Oregon State. No, it was Samford. Again, we're talking about the school Samford. They beat Oregon State tonight. SAMFORD. So
I saw that.
That's fun.
Scrolling on the bottom of the screen. I don't think Pac-12 play has already started yet.
No, it hasn't. I was just joking.
But we do have a really early game this year on the schedule, just in general, because I feel like you don't normally see Pac-12 games by December 1st, but Arizona State versus Washington State's taking place December 1st at Desert Financial Arena. So that's going to be the next home game. But craziness. Already in complete insanity. Did you see Oregon lost yesterday too?
Yeah. A lot of teams going down. I think Ohio State lost as well tonight. There's some big names falling already, and hopefully ASU can be one of those guys when they play Baylor on Wednesday. So that's a big game coming up. Before we get off of the topic of Marianne Jackson, I just want to mention, I said earlier I'd find his stats. He's only shooting 33% from the field. It's not as bad as I thought. It's not great. You want to hover around the 50-45 range at least. So not the worst start, but certainly not the best for a guy who was the MAC Player of the Year last year.
Yeah, you would definitely like to see those numbers improve. I'm interested to see what Jalen Graham is able to do, and I think he's a little bit more acclimated. He had a couple turnovers today that I think were uncharacteristic. If he would have been a little bit more focused and maybe had a little bit more time in terms of practicing and getting back out there and getting comfortable. And I say that because, Shane, I don't know if you had COVID at all, but I had it, and it takes a bit of time for you to get back to normal. You can be feeling normal, but even the recovery time, just your muscles kind of lag and you just don't feel right. So I think in a couple weeks, we're going to really, by next week, we should start to see him elevating back to where he truly should be. But I still think he had an outstanding game. But there were a couple turnovers he had that I thought just were kind of careless, sloppy play, not really controlling the ball, trying to do a little bit too much or be too fancy. So I'd like to see him clean that up and tighten that up as the season progresses and he gets back out there more.
Yep, 2 turnovers for Jalen Graham, 6 points on 3 of 8 shooting. He took 2 threes. Obviously, we mentioned the 0 for 4 mark from the free throw line. The only other person that missed a free throw was Marianne Jackson. He was 4 for 5. Sun Devils shot 72% from the line, thanks to almost only Jalen Graham's misses. Leading in minutes tonight, Kamani Lawrence and Marianne Jackson doesn't surprise me at all. Leading them by far. 34 and 33 minutes. The next closest was Luther Muhammad at 29 minutes. Luther, you look at the box score for Luther Muhammad.
He put up a 3 in the first half.
Well, there was no time left on the shot clock. I know it was ugly, but there was no time left on the shot clock.
Well, no, but I'm pretty sure Bobby Hurley's face was like,
yeah, it was an ugly
I'm
possession.
gonna smack the shit out of you. I wanted to see the close-up of Bobby Hurley's face. I wanted to talk about that actually for a minute because I love Bobby Hurley. I love a fired up Bobby Hurley. I like when he gets nice and feisty, and I know Shane likes that too. So that was one of those moments where I was kind of hoping he would get a little more turned up than he did, but he gave him that death glare for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a death glare to the whole team. That possession was a waste of a possession that unfortunately ended up in Luther Muhammad's hands to hoist a 3. He was 2 for 5 from the 3-point line, so 40%, pretty good mark. 9 points, and as I said, you look at the box score, you don't see much. I mean, you got 2 steals, only 1 rebound, but he did so much more than just that on defense. The team defense of this team, it's so less frustrating than watching a normal NBA style team defense where it's switch everything. They only switch when it's guard on guard or big on big. I saw Jalen Graham a couple times come out and hedge really hard and get back to his guy. And Luther Muhammad, when needed, would switch on to anybody. And that's something that he brings. He can do. He's 6'6", big, long wingspan. Really smart defender, really fast defender, really just an all-around good defender. And as I mentioned, you don't looking at the box score doesn't do it justice. We need to create a stat for him, like annoyances per game. He probably had 8 annoyances per game. He's averaging 8 APG, and that's not assists per game.
Like we need like a and like there needs to be like an N, like annoyances, like
ANPG.
Yeah.
Anpg. I like it. Okay. He had 8 anpages
except for I was
tonight.
saying paga. It depends on where you put the emphasis on the G. Yeah. Whatever.
Well,
but yeah, it definitely could be a stat for sure.
You know where we can put emphasis? This shirt, and PHNX. You can get the shirt at the PHNX locker. And Britt has some good stuff at gophnx.com. Stuff about the women's team, stuff about men's basketball, stuff about our football team, stuff about everything ASU. Britt, why don't you break it down for them?
Yeah. So if you head on over to gophnx.com, we got lots of stuff over there for you. Coming up tomorrow morning will be the Pac-12 picks of the week for football as we are heading in to week 12 already. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely insanity right now in terms of the race for the divisions for the North and the South. Some Sun Devils are a little mistaken on who they should be rooting for this weekend. I've heard some people say that they're rooting for Utah because they absolutely
we'll break this down on Friday.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Wrong decision. Let me just tell you that. Wrong decision. But yeah, so much on the line, so much excitement. And even the 2 games where there's not a lot on the line, you got the crosstown rivalry with UCLA and USC, and then you have the big game between Stanford and Cal. So a ton of stuff going on this week. It's going to be super exciting. I think I'm actually going to throw this out there. I think Arizona, depending on how they play against Washington and how things shake out, might surprise some people. And I know I say that sparingly because I know it was a close game against ASU, but nobody expected Arizona to play, or I'm saying against Washington State. I'm sorry. Nobody expected Arizona to play
Utah that close.
Utah as close as they did. So anyways, getting back to it though, a lot to discuss, a lot to break down. You're going to want to check out this Pac-12 picks and predictions for this week. We also have, like Shane said, some stories on ASU's women's basketball, ASU's men's hoops. We have pretty much everything going on over there. Some volleyball.
Yeah, not only do you get
coming soon.
Not only do you get Britt's ASU content, you get every content when you get a Go PHNX membership. You can get your first month for just 50 cents if you want to try it out, or you can get a sweet t-shirt when you get an annual membership for just under $60. So go become part of the family at gophnx.com. As Britt said, we have a lot to break down tomorrow for football. But as I mentioned earlier, ASU has a huge game. They got some time to rest on Wednesday. They got just under a week to prepare for number 9 Baylor in the Battle for Atlantis neutral site. So you don't have to worry about that. That game tips at 5:30. We'll be coming to you live right after the game, as always. And then they got their first Pac-12 game against Washington State on December 1st.
But first, it's Thanksgiving.
It is.
I love
Um,
Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, if you didn't know. I know most people have like other favorite holidays, not
I'm
Thanksgiving.
gonna start dressing up for Thanksgiving.
My dressing up is wearing sweatpants because I can just eat and keep getting fat and lay and be comfortable, but also not need to have a blanket and be warm.
I
So
think th-
very convenient.
I think this weekend I'm gonna ask a bunch of people what they're dressing up as for Thanksgiving and see what they say.
Ooh, that'd be a good man on the street. We should do that for
It would
for
be.
word on the street.
That would be. Well, 65-63, tough loss, heartbreaker for the Sun Devils. They fall to 2-2. Next game, as I said, is on Wednesday against Baylor. We'll be live after that. We'll also be live tomorrow at 5
Yikes.
o'clock for our Friday fun day. As always, breaking down some ASU football.
We gonna have some fun.
Can ASU make the Rose Bowl? We'll break that down for you tomorrow. We'll also be coming to
I
you
might have a
live.
heart attack in the next 48 hours, Shane.
We'll also be coming to you live right after the Oregon State football game. Game means a lot to the Sun Devils to keep their hopes alive for just about anything. That game is at 8:30 p.m. Arizona time, so we're going to be troopers. The post-game show will probably start around midnight, pending the game, or it could start at 12:30 if they want to have another Washington State game. But we will see about that. Sun Devils are, I believe, 3-point favorites in that game right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code PHNX, by the way. That's all we have tonight, folks. Britt, do you have anything else to say to the people?
Just follow us on Twitter and tell everyone to watch us.
Oh, yeah, you got your new handle.
That's it. I did. Hey, I changed it. So I do 2 T's for Lit with Britt because some girl who had like 50 followers that hasn't used Twitter since 2016 had regular Lit with Britt. So I was like, throw 2 T's
follow
in there.
me right there
Problem
at
solved.
Shane Deef. You can follow PHNX Sun Devils at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow PHNX_sports across all socials, including YouTube. Leave a like and subscribe. If you're listening on audio, leave a review. It means a lot. Share with your friends. Let us know. And go get some sweet, sweet merch over at the PHNX Locker. We will be back tomorrow, as I said, at 5 p.m. Thank you for tuning in, as always, and peace.